Despite popular belief, it's not always nice weather in Sydney, but I have to say we have the best of both worlds. Melbourne's probably a bit too cold, and then Brisbane's a bit too hot, so Sydney's probably just right on average. But this video is not about the weather. This video is about property market. My last video I talked about these suburbs in Sydney particularly that I have not seen crazy money come in, and I'll explain why. Think about the area in Sydney. I talked about bubbles, that we all live in certain bubbles, and that we transport ourselves from our home bubble, and that's the suburb that we live in, into the work bubble, and then we might even go and see some family and friends that live in a different suburb/bubble. So how important is it where you live if you have to pay double? And the comparison I had last time was a very average area of, say, Dundas Valley in Sydney, of a 4-bedroom duplex that cost $1.25 million. And the mystery area that I got everybody to do their homework if they could and think about those unexplored areas where you could buy, let's call it comparatively similar property for $800,000 to $850,000 and actually get more rent on a cheaper property. Yes, some will say, but there's not going to be a capital gain. I'm not sure you can get much more of a capital gain on a property that is already $1.25 million on a 350 square meter block, being a duplex. But hey, I've been wrong in the past, so I'll probably be wrong. Maybe that duplex in Dundas Valley will cost $2 million in the next 3 years. I think I'll be more inclined to be right if I said that as a prediction. But yeah, I'm being slightly facetious. The only other thing to note with the suburb, all right, I'll reveal that suburb, and before you start maybe putting some kind of negative comments about it, the suburb I was talking about was Fairfield, right? Very interesting that imagine a couple, which is not necessarily a crazy money or dirty money, definitely not, but a young couple are looking to raise the family, they get married, and they would like to live in a nicer area. Okay, so hear me out. Now, Fairfield might not be one of those, and that's the whole point. And no disrespect to anyone, because I've lived in Fairfield for a decade when I came to this country, but about that some other time. So the couple, a scenario of a couple, and that happens a lot, who have maybe been looking at North Shore or Upper North Shore, and then they said, well, this is too expensive, we need to move out a bit and maybe start looking at Lane Cove, and they said, well, this is still unaffordable, and then they go, we're going to West Ryde, North Ryde, or Macquarie Park. It's nice, it's got a nice shopping centre there, so we move there. Oh wait, we have to pay $1.6 million for a shack, fibro shack that needs to be knocked down, so yeah, we can't afford that one. And they keep looking at other suburbs. The thing is, some of these unexplored suburbs will never be on the list of these young couples. In Fairfield in particular, and I'm completely generalizing, but unless you're, say, a Syrian or some sort of Yugoslav or a few other kind of ethnic groups there, but mostly Assyrians, you don't have Fairfield on your list. So you're not going there, you keep moving. What normally seems to happen, for those who know the property market in Sydney, is that these young couples and people who can't afford these older areas closer to the city, more established areas, they end up going to Northwest, to those new areas, and they end up paying even more. I was shown a duplex by one of my colleagues. It was a 4-bedroom, really small bedrooms with, I don't want to lie too much, but I think it was like 250 square meter block, if that. And they wanted $1.1 million for a duplex in Kellyville's, or one of those even further away areas. And it was on kind of a busy road. I thought, this is insane. You're better off going into the mystery suburbs for $850,000 with the train station and all the other things. If you think they don't have facilities in Liverpool's and Southwest, you know what they do? They have the the Whitlam Centre. They got the the swimming pools and gyms and everything else, and not to mention that their food is super cheap there, especially some of these areas. One of the comments in my previous video mentioned Whaley Park, and I wish I actually prepared a bit better for this video, but to mention some of the other suburbs that were singled out. But I mean, before you start saying, oh, I couldn't live there, it's a bubble. You live in your house, you go shopping maybe once a week, and the rest of the stuff you do A, in your house, B, at your work, and C, in your other bubbles when you go to your friends or family. You don't actually go out there that much unless you're in a west or in a city or where I am here, and you go for your coffees and that sort of stuff, and you kind of like what you see. But you know what, not many people do that. You just get in the car, go to work, pick up kids, drop off kids, that sort of stuff. So with those sort of activities, you could live anywhere. Oh, but it's not close to the beach. Yeah, how often do you go to the beach? And when you do, get in the car, pay all the tolls, and 45 minutes later, maybe longer, doesn't matter, you'll be there. But stay there all day, get your money's worth. Not to mention that instead of paying $1.6 million for a fibro shack, you got yourself a brand new duplex for $850,000. So that saving speaks for itself. That's assuming that that's where you want to live. If you're investing, again, would you want to pay $850,000 for a property and get $700 a week rent, or would you want to pay $1.25 million and get $630 rent, which is less? So, I know where I'd put my money if I was looking at buying property, which maybe not. I am, but about that also coming up. There was also a big debate, just briefly, on inflation, deflation. That debate hasn't ended for the last few years. We have had some inflation, definitely, assets inflation with stock market and property going up, which doesn't go towards the inflation figure, by the way. But turns out, according to Martin Armstrong, we might see the end of it by 2023. So by 2023. So 2022 is just around the corner. So it looks like we may, if we've had any inflation, it may be over soon, according to him, if he can believe his cycles and the research. But that's all I've got for today. Thanks for watching again, and let's stay in touch. Take care. Bye.